Hello, I'm Nancy Smith Mattox on WYTV7 in Charlotte, broadcasting from Little Rock, Arkansas on Shine Your Light Radio Ministry. So excited today. Y'all are going to be very, very excited with who we have to be interviewing today. Her name is Miss Sharon Almon. And she has an interesting story, a fabulous story she's going to share with us. I think you're going to get a lot out of it. But before we go forward, Miss Almon, let me just say that WYTV7 is a nonprofit. We do take donations. You'd be surprised how far a $7 donation would go, and what we use our donations for is to promote our shows internationally. We have several million viewers that view our shows for all of the broadcasters, so it's really a great thing, and our mantra at WYTV7 is if we reach one, we've done our job, and we reach millions. So we're really excited about that. So without further ado, let's go ahead and start. Let me properly introduce Miss Almon. She is a new author, and the name of her book is More Than a Paycheck, and she's got a subtitle, so I'm going to let her share that with us. She's a motivational speaker on sharing love always, and she's also been married for 37 years, and a lot of what prompted the book and the title and everything is the difficulties that she shared in her marriage for financial losses. So without further ado, let's get started. What inspired you to write the book, Miss Almon?
Well, Nancy, first of all, I'd like to say thank you so much for having me this evening. I'm so excited to share our story. And what inspired me to share More Than a Paycheck, or to write More Than a Paycheck, was my husband. Like you said, we've been married 37 years. It'll be 38 in August. And my husband's an IT professional. And I always say that's what he actually does for a living, but that's not who he is. He was downsized on 3 different occasions, and one time was for 2 years and 3 months. And when he was downsized, we actually had no income actually coming into our home. And so he inspired me to share our story, how we had to deal with some very challenging times that hit our personal lives and how it impacted our communication style, the way we interacted financially, our intimacy, the whole 9 yards, how to share it's a love story, but we share it and give practical tools to couples of what to do when the unexpected happens in your life. So I was inspired by my husband to share the story with our viewers.
Well, I think that's fantastic. That's a major accomplishment in this day and time. 37 years, 38 years of marriage, that's just awesome. So the title of the book is More Than a Paycheck. And where did the title come from? And then tell us what the subtitle is.
Absolutely. More Than a Paycheck was birthed out of, a lot of times when people get married, the first thing when they become engaged, the first thing you're going to hear is, well, let me see the ring, or when is the wedding? They ask all of those tangible things about the wedding. But I feel that my husband is more than a paycheck. He's more than the generation of revenue that comes into our home. He is a man of God. He operates himself with integrity. He's an outstanding father. He has values that many folks don't portray these days. So he's more than just what he brings into the household. And those are the type of things that I had to pull from when he was unemployed, especially on that third impacting of being downsized. I had to look back and say, what makes my husband really work? What are his character? What are the characteristics that makes him very strong in our relationship? So he is more than his 6-figure salary that he was bringing home. And I had to get that out of my mind and say, what are the things of integrity? What are the things that I love him so much about, of how he cares for our home and cares for our children? So that title really says it all. And a lot of people, they equate the number one reason for divorce is financial reasons. So if you don't have something that you can pull from that has nothing to do with just bringing finances, you're going to be in trouble if you can't bank on other things in your relationship.
Yes, ma'am. And what is the subtitle?
Well, the subtitle, and I love to show my little story, a wife's story of faith, love, and renewal in the face of adversity. When I think about it, people are always asking my husband and I, what are the attributes? What are the keys to your successful marriage? And we really operated out of 3 principles. faith, which is the foundation of our relationship. And I always tell people we're not religious, but we have a relationship with our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. But you can't, because you can't be religious when hard times come. You've got to know the Father. You've got to have a relationship with him to bring you through difficult times. Friendship. We are friends. We are the best of friends. We find laughter. We laugh together. We can find laughter out of the most minute things. And then fun. We have a lot of fun together. And when we were going through our difficult days, we had to pull from our faith, which is the foundation of our marriage. We had to find friendship, not just, I know I love my husband, but I really like him. And there is a difference. And then fun. We found that still creating fun in the relationship when you're going through dark, difficult times help to hold us together. So faith, friendship, and fun are the three keys.
Wow, that's just fantastic, and that's a lot of good wisdom for everyone. I mean, really, because that is what it takes.
Absolutely.
To hold your marriage together, and you both have to be cohesive about it. Was sharing your personal story difficult?
Oh, yes, Nancy, I cannot tell you how many people are just leaping for joy to be transparent. I really ran for probably 4 years. I did not want to write this book. I did not want to share that personal intimacy regarding our finances with folks because I thought, I don't want to share that. We thought we were living the American dream. We thought we were doing everything right. We never acquired any debt. We always paid our bills in 30 days. We were tithers. We worked in the church. We gave to nonprofits every year. So we were those very responsible individuals. We never really came up against financial things until this happened. So to share that transparency was very difficult. But now I realize how important it is to share with other couples that even though you might be going through some challenging times, you can come out of it. And you can come out not just surviving, but thriving. So sharing our story has helped countless couples across the United States. I've been able to travel a little bit, share. I even went back to the university where the love story began and share it with the students there in chapel. So it's been just a door opener for me to share with other couples and to strengthen those couples through adversity.
Well, you know, that's what WYTV7 and Shine Your Light Radio Ministry is all about. We've done a lot of interviews with people, and I always encourage them to do real talk real, because that's what people want to hear. We don't like how we feel like we're all alone in something. And you know, everyone that's in a marriage really experiences this kind of stuff. I mean, you just do, because that's what happens. So that's why it's so critical that you talk real talk and you talk about what happened to you, because people can glean that information from you and make things better in their own marriage. I mean, that's what it's all about, especially here at WYTV7 and Shine Your Light. That's really what it's about. So how did you get through the difficult, dark days?
Well, you know, I always tell people we were clinging to our faith, which is our Lord and Savior, and we cling to each other. Those were the main keys, because you can either turn to each other or turn on each other. Because when finances are tight and when you don't know how you're going to pay that mortgage payment or how you're going to get your basic human needs, groceries, utilities, the light bill, when you don't know how you're going to pay those things, that is the time to turn to each other and not to turn on each other. And my husband had a history of working. It's not like he just never worked through the 37 years of marriage. But when it happened, I always say marriage is like a forecast. Some days they're bright and shiny and things are going well. Some days are cloudy. Not a lot's going on, but, you know, difficult days. And then when that tsunami hits and it's hard and difficult, we had to pull from our faith to get us through those difficult days. We had to cling to one another. And then we surrounded ourselves with individuals who help support us and encourage us. And then we also have a place of faith that we go to and a ministry that we're in charge of. And we're actually over the marriage ministry. So even though we were going through all of this, we still went to services, we still participated in ministry. And so we gleaned from some of the other couples as well as we went through the difficult days.
Wow, I really like that. So in difficult times, so no matter if it's financial or whatever it is, you got to draw on your faith to turn to each other instead of against each other. Because
Absolutely.
really, that's so powerful. That's just a lesson that everybody needs to learn. And really, no matter how many years you've been married or how many or whatever kind of problems you're facing, you always need that camaraderie and that faith attachment to make it through it. So that's just fantastic. What impact does the lack of finances have on your marriage?
Well, let me just be very transparent. The lack of finances can impact several areas. It can impact your communication style. And I always laugh about this because women, we speak about 20,000 words a day and men speak about 6,000 words a day. And tone and timing is everything with the relationship and communication. It also impacted intimacy. It's sometimes hard to feel like you want to be intimate when women, we like security. Men like respect. So men are looking for us to be respectful towards them. We like security. So it's very hard a lot of times for women to feel like they want to be intimate when they're worried about the mortgage. So it can impact your intimacy, impacts your communication style. It can impact the way that you relate to one another. So if you're not very careful, and there were days where I felt very edgy and very, like I really didn't want to feel intimate, but you can't wait till the storm is over to say, I'll come back and get intimate after money comes back into the home, because now you're bitter. So we just continued to keep things flowing. We kept our communication style open. And we, like I said before, continued to be intimate, even though we were going through difficult days. Because the time when he was unemployed 2 years and 3 months, if I said to him, oh, I'll be intimate after you get a job, that would have been a long wait. And then by that time, maybe our marriage would not have thrived through it all.
Yes, ma'am. And you have children that went through this too, right? Which makes it.
Absolutely. When the first impact that happened in 2003, our son was getting ready to go off to college, and then we had a daughter in high school. So it was really at a crossroads where we were paying tuition and we were doing college, but God saw us through that. Then the second time, our daughter was at UGA and she was in college. So we had to do some things that we said we'd never do. We had to co-sign on some student loans because we didn't want her to quit. So we had to acquire some debt that we normally wouldn't have had to acquire because we wanted to pay cash for her to go to school. But even through all of that, God was faithful. So yes, we had children, but now they're adults and we're empty nesters, and we have a son that's almost 35 and our daughter is almost 32 years old. So they're both adults, and we got through it, and they saw how we handled ourselves going through the storm. And I think it was a good example for them as well.
Absolutely. I think sometimes, and I'm guilty of this too, with my son. I only had one son, but we really do spoil them with all of the money that we make and what we give them and all. So it's really a nice dose of reality when that happens, but it's so difficult because, children don't understand that. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So, I'm going to take a quick commercial break here, and we'll be right back in about 2 seconds, okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to WYTV7. Can you make us your #1 listen to network? Visit us on the web at WYTV7.org. Contact us. We are currently accepting guests to share their story of hope with our audience around the world.
Well, thank you for that. I hope you enjoyed that commercial break for WYTV7, a very important nonprofit that has lots of broadcasters that are broadcasting out into the world. And our motto and our mantra at WYTV7 is, if we reach one, we've done our job. So I'm real excited about that. So let's talk a little bit more about the communications when you're in a difficult situation, Ms. Almon. I think that's really important for people to understand, that they have to keep those lines of communications open.
Absolutely. I kind of alluded to it earlier about communication styles. Men and women really do communicate differently. And like I said before, communication styles for a woman, because we speak 20,000 words and because he speaks 6,000 words, a lot of times a man will come into the home and he's used up his 6,000 words, and you're wondering, but you're not communicating with me. He is always communicating, and sometimes it's just a quiet downtime that he needs. And I always share with individuals, if you have something very, very important that you need to discuss, especially with your husband, a lot of times men, they need to take in what you're saying. They need to sleep on it, and then they'll come back. Whereas with a woman, we have thought about it. We have went through and got the solution, and we're way down the road. So communication style, especially when you're going through difficult times, communicate. I cannot stress this enough. Communicate, communicate, communicate. And a great example of that I could share with you is what helped me is that my husband would share with me when he was out doing job search. So he would share with me a list. These are the jobs that I've applied for. These are the jobs that I have interviews scheduled. And even if he didn't get the job, it made me feel good to know he's working on something. But if he had hid in the corner and never shared that I have interviews set up, I'm looking at 10 jobs a day or whatever, then I might be thinking, well, you haven't found a job yet, and then that creates friction. But he might be working on something, and if he doesn't communicate that with you or share it with you, then now you're butting heads. So I always say communicate, communicate, communicate when adversity hits your relationship, because then you know he's working on something. It just hasn't come to fruition just yet.
Right. Well, our time in our interview goes by so rapidly, but I want you to share a few practical tools that couples can use to keep their marriage strong during adversity, because that's so important, because we all run into them.
Absolutely. The number one practical tool, I always say, do not bury your head in the sand. When people come through financial adversity, the first thing they do is all the bills are coming in, they're stuffing them in a drawer. They're not going to go away. So the first thing you could do, call your creditor. Let them know I'm unemployed. Let them know I don't know when I might be returning to work. Can I get a deferment? Find out if they can defer the bill for a while, or can I reduce the payment somewhat? Sometimes they'll not accrue interest if you have something. Call your mortgage company, talk to your landlord. If it's a utility, call your utility place where they, and let them know. And if you've been a good payer, a lot of times they will work with you. So don't bury your head in the sand. Call the people your creditors, make sure they know what's going on, give them benchmarks. And then if you do get a job offer, you're not going to get a check probably for 2 weeks or maybe 3. It could be 30 days. Let them know my first paycheck is going to be on such and such date. Can I set up a payment plan? Can you bring me up to a current status? A lot of creditors will put that loan on the back end, especially if they know you're trying. And then also, make sure you share with those that you can really trust. You can't tell your business to everyone, but if you have an inner circle, have them bathe you in prayer. A lot of times if they know you're going through things, they might slip a little love token in your hand. Just let them know. Don't be ashamed. Every couple goes through something, especially if you've been married at a length of time, you're going to go through some challenges, and you need that good support base. So practical tools, share with your inner circle. Make sure your creditors know what's going on, and continue to keep the intimacy going in your marriage. Continue to talk about things moving forward, because the sun will shine again. You will come out of this. I always say a storm doesn't last forever. There is a cycle of a storm, and you will come out of it.
Absolutely. That's how our God is. Our
Absolutely.
God, puts us through this to make us stronger. So, and then we do come out stronger. So do you have the book handy where you can hold it up for us?
Absolutely. This is my wonderful book, More Than a Paycheck. I have a print version and also an ebook, electronic, for all of those millennials who like ebooks or Kindle. You can find my book on Amazon. You can go to my website, www.sharonlalmon.com, and you can purchase the book right off there. When you select the book selection, it'll take you to Amazon, and you can purchase it there. And it retails for a very nominal fee for $12.95, and the ebook is even cheaper than that. So there's always a bargain in there, and I like to hear from folks, and they can send me a message after they read it if they like, right there on my website.
That would be wonderful. Call out your website one more time, Miss Almon.
Sure. It's www. It's just my name, Sharon, SHARONL, Almon, ALMON.com. So it's www.SharonLAlmon.com.
Oh, that's awesome. So I'm really excited for you. You're just such a beautiful spirit, and I'm excited that you made it through. You made it through the trials, and that you decided to document that to help other people. Oh my goodness! Because that's
Absolutely.
what people really want. People want to pick up a book and read it and get something out of it. They want to watch interviews like this so they can learn that they're not alone in any trouble or
Absolutely.
tribulation that they're going through. So, do you have any parting words for us on the interview?
Well, my parting words is you can have a strong marriage. You can have heaven on earth if you're willing to make an investment. So many people invest in their jobs, their careers, they get degrees, they do all of those things. And the very thing that you don't get a lot of training for, which is marriage, the journey called life, you don't invest in. So make an investment in your relationship. Invest in reading good materials. And I really advocate for More Than a Paycheck because it's a wonderful love story. And within the love story, I do offer those practical tools. So I encourage folks, get you some good reading materials, surround you with people that can comfort, that can get you through some things. Hold on to your faith and you can make it. You can come out victorious.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. It's been a sheer pleasure to have you on. You gave us a lot of little nuggets that people can really grasp a hold of. And I'm really excited for your show to come on. And I wish you the best of luck. I'll be praying for you for things to continue to go well, okay?
Thank you, Nancy. Thank you so much for having me. It's been just a joy. I feel like I've been sitting in your living room talking to you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I do hear that all the time. So 5 years ago, before I started this show, if you would thought that I'd have been doing a radio show, I would have said, no, not me. But you know, I do a lot of research and I get everything that I need so I can interview people because I really want to shine your light out into the world to help other people. So
Great.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay.